Magandang hapon. Pakisabi na lang po kung meron akong audio. Mag-share po muna tayo, huwag pong kakalimutan, like and share. Okay, share po muna tayo, huwag pong kakalimutan mag-like and share. Give me 30 seconds to do this. Okay, may audio po. Okay, maraming salamat. Teka, hindi pa pala ako nag-share ng aking ng screen because importante po yung nabasahin natin yung yung statement. So, ito na po. Alright. Okay, yan na po. Ito po ang statement ni Senator Go. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. May statement po si Senator Bong Go on his candidacy. Now, we have to read this clearly because maraming nagsasabi na nag-withdraw na po siya, but a careful reading of this indicates that it is not exactly that. It is an expression of a willingness to withdraw. So willingness po ito, hindi po tayo sigurado yet kung sino po ang pinupuntirang audience dito. Alright, let's have a look. In the first part, he says, this was, kumbaga, hindi niya po ito inaasahan at hindi niya ito inambisyon. Okay? And happy siya, nakakataba daw ng puso yung suportang naipakita sa kanya. That being said, nung naging kandidato siya for about 40 days, nagbago yung political landscape. Ang inaasahang pagtakbo ni Inday Sara, supposedly according to Senator Ko, ay naging pagtakbo for the vice presidency. So ito yung minimension niya na nangyari po ang hindi natin inaasahan. Pero tinuloy pa rin niya yung candidacy niya. Although he was forced or compelled, at least this is the narrative that we're getting, to run for a different position dahil hindi niya po talaga tatapatan si Inday Sara. So, sinasabi rin niya dito, but in the past few days, I realized that his heart was not in it. Kumbaga, parang hindi niya gusto ito. My heart and mind are contradicting my own actions. Tao lang po at nasasaktan at napapagod din. So, in the course of his candidacy ng 40 araw at saka in the days following that, makikita natin na burdensome na para sa kanya, masakit na para sa kanya. Nagre-resist daw po yung katawan niya, puso at isipan, pati yung kanyang pamilya ay nahihirapan. So, hindi daw siya nanggaling sa malaki o kilalang pamilya, is just a simple public servant. Dito tayo mag-focus dun sa mahalaga. Pero sa ngayon, baka hindi ko pa po panahon. Diba? Ang sinasabi niya kasi ay destiny, yung pagiging presidente. So baka hindi pa daw niya panahon. Take note of the word baka. Ako yung taong handang magsakripisyo para walang maipit, masaktan at pamroblema. Ayoko na pong mahirapan si Pangulo at mga supporters natin. Mahal ko po si Pangulong Duterte, matanda na rin po siya. And so on. Having said this, sabi niya, after all of that, I leave my faith to God and the Filipino people as I vow to do my best every day to serve selflessly and tirelessly. I'm willing to make the supreme sacrifice for the good of our country and for the sake of unity among our supporters and leaders. Marami namang paraan upang makatulong sa ating kapwa Pilipino. Ako naman kahit saan man ako ipadpad ng aking tadhana, patuloy po ako magsiservisyo kung ano man magiging desisyon. Ipasa Diyos ko na lang ang lahat, alang-alang sa kung ano ay kabubuti ng bayan. Okay, significant ito, itong mga words na to. Baka hindi ko pa po panahon, handa siyang magsakripisyo, pero also doon makikita natin that Ang patutunguhan ng statement na ito ay para doon sa posibleng pag-withdraw niya. And we say posible because he doesn't actually say na nagwi-withdraw siya. Sabi niya, sa ngayon, hindi ko pa po panahon. Ako yung taong handang magsakripisyo. Kaya hindi ko pa panahon. Now, having said this, he also says, I am willing to make the supreme sacrifice for the good of our country. So, the key word is willing. Big sabihin, wala sa kanya yon. And for the sake of unity among our supporters and leaders. Significant again is the term unity. Kasi parang may oblique reference ito sa unity ni Inday Sara at saka ni Senator Bongo. Marami namang paraan, Bongbong, Senator Bongbong, oh my goodness. Marami namang paraan upang makatulong sa ating kapwa Pilipino. Ito yung mga sinasabi ng mga taong either hindi tatakbo or hindi tumatakbo or hindi natatakbo. Pero nakalagay dito, kung ano man ang aking maging desisyon, ipapasa Diyos ko na lang ang lahat alang-alang sa kung ano ang ikabubuti ng bayan. Now, there's a contradiction here, ha? And in one part, he says, kung ano man ang magiging desisyon, and in the last part, he says, it is his decision. So, makikita natin that this isn't a single person's decision. Ayan nasa na ba yung isa? Kung ano man ang magiging desisyon, and then here, kung ano man ang aking magiging desisyon, ipapasa Diyos ko na lang ang lahat alang-alang sa kung ano ay kabubuti ng bayan. So, it means that hindi pa siya po nag-withdraw. But this is just an indication that he is willing to do so. Now, bakit willingness lang po? Although he says that partly it is due to going to be his decision, the other part is likely a nod to the political party. So, ibig sabihin dito na hindi lang siya ang magdidesisyon dito. Pero kung siya lang ang tatanungin, pwede na siya na mag-withdraw. Okay, check natin yung mga mga comments niyo. Sabi ni Ella Micha Miki, salute kay Senator Bongo if ever na mag-withdraw. Jeric Datu says, nakapag-drug test na ba si SBG? If not, why? And instead of taking the drug test, ay nag-issue siya ng ganyang statement. Sir Jeric, i-ignore ko muna for the moment yung obvious parinig dito and take your statement at face value. So, unang-una yung drug test po ay hindi requirement ng ating COMELEC. It is not a requirement for any of the candidates. Kung makikita niyo po yung statement ni Inday Sara, nag-take siya ng drug test on the urging of her running mate, BBM, former Senator Bongbong Marcos, para mag-promote ng transparency. Therefore, hindi po ito requirement. So yung sinasabi ninyong, why not? Okay? Because there is no compulsion to do so. However, makikita din po natin sa statement niya na siya ay isang reluctant candidate. Kung titingnan niyo po, lalong-lalo na dun sa lumabas na impormasyon, kukunti yung ads and so on, may mga nakikita tayong ads. Pero parang, as he indicates, half-hearted yung kanyang candidacy. Therefore, at this stage, by saying that, sinasabi din niya na kontra yung kagustuhan niya. In other words, his heart is not in it. And therefore, half-hearted yung campaign and so on. So even these things, whereas other candidates, they're taking the drug test to once again be in the news and so on, or in the other hand, to promote transparency, sa kanya, hindi niya masyadong naiisip yon because according to the statement, half-hearted nga po ito. Maraming salamat kay Rolando Plaza. He says, I hope Bongo will not withdraw. I won't be voting for any president if he's not there. I just can't stomach a BBM presidency. All right. Ito, sabi ni Ma'am Audrey Mas, It could be two things. One, BG will withdraw, or two, BG will still run but accepts his fate of losing the race as early as now. This is correct. Meaning he'll not give out his best campaigning. Okay. Ito, sabi ni Mac, hypothetical question, kanino po mapupunta kung iboboto ay Bong Marcos, Bong Bongo? Thank you po. Wala na pong ganun kasi shading lang po ngayon. Hindi na po fini-fill up yung balota. Matagal na po yata kayong hindi bumoboto. At least hindi bumoboto dito. Sabi ni Delora Mijares, double meaning kasi yung sinabi niya, pero mas gustuhin ko mag-back out muna si SBG para yung suporta sa kanya mabaling kay BBM para kay di na talaga makabalik ang dilawan. Mas maganda pa rin, nawala. Sabi ni Virginia Tuliao, mas maganda pa rin yung nagpa-drug test bago siya mag-withdraw, sabi ni Ma'am Virginia. Bakit po? Ang presumption is the presumption of innocence. Yeah. Sa akin, it doesn't matter. He's not a candidate. Or if he's not going to be a candidate, well, I suppose that's still a valid opinion though. Sa statement ni SBG, sabi ni Ma'am Fanny, it seems pressured siya sa pagsabak sa presidential race. Para siyang naipit sa nag-uumpugang bato. Kumbaga, the mind is willing but the flesh is weak. Or the other way around. The flesh is strong but the mind is unwilling. Sabi ni Jovelyn Ortega, hindi naman po umatras si Bongo. Patuloy pa rin siya. Hindi naman po mahirap sa kanya maging presidente kasi best mentor niya si PRRD. Okay. Sir Archie, first, nag-all caps kayo. Second, nagpa-flood po kayo. Ngayon, ang sasabihin ko lang ngayon, there's no better statement than the statement of the person himself. So, hindi na po kami magko-comment dun sa statement ni Gov. Mamba. Willing naman si SBG magpa-drug test kahit ano pa daw na klaseng drug test yan. Yung pinaka-high level pa daw, huwag masyadong judgmental, sabi ni Ate Roiv. Sabi ni Paulo Olio, be kind, no need na mag-away-away pa. I would like to underscore this. Since yung statement naman ni Senator Go is his willingness to withdraw, those who are opposed to his candidacy can afford now to be kinder. Diba? Alam ko na majority sa atin ay para dun sa team unity. Pero, wala naman sigurong mawawala sa atin if we spare a kind thought for those who, for the statement na nahihirapan itong taong to. So, we can afford to be kind. Wala naman pong mawawala sa atin by doing that. We can afford to presume innocence. Wala naman mawawala sa atin na ganyan, di ba? Sabi ni Ma'am Marisol Gloriani, makikinig lang po muna ako kay Attorney Trix. Wala po akong maiisip na tanong. Okay. Sabi ni Frank Gaspar, the statement in my opinion simply indicates doubt, uncertainty, reluctance, signs to pause a while, stop and weigh or resort to damage control. It is a losing proposition anyway. Sabi ni Paper Roses, to me, if you know na di ka naman nagko-cocaine, no need na magpa-test, si BBN lang kasi nasa hot seat siya. Well, yung ibang candidates naman kasi ay nagpa-drug test din. Pero ang ano ko dito is that he's willing din naman eh. Kaya lang, hindi pa nga siya sure kung itutuloy niya ito. He is expressing his misgivings, his doubts at continuing the race. But it isn't an actual withdrawal. Okay, so let's be kind. Sabi ni Hector Celis, for me, the reason why Senator Bongo might withdraw is because he knows he has no chance of winning. Posible din po. Aniseta Valdellontan says, better not run so as not to stress PRRD in campaigning. Well, that is also a very kind statement. Question po, in case printed na ang balota tapos nag-withdraw si Bong Go during elections, may bumoto sa kanya, mapupunta ba kay BBM boto niya? Hindi po. Stray po yan. Considered stray votes po yan. Min Chun says, maraming mawawala sa atin katulad ng build kapag si BBM naging president. Bongo is the next best president for continuity. Mas gusto kong tumakbo pa rin si SPG dahil 100% sure na ipagpatuloy niya ang lahat ng magagandang programa ni PRRD. At isa pa, wala akong nakitang senador na katulad niyang pumababa sa mahihirap para magbigay ng tulong. Kaya bihira talaga sa public official ang ginagawa niyang pagtulong. Ito maganda yung sinabi ni Ma'am Villasilio, Marilu Villasilio, let's live the word unity, let's build bridges. Sabi ni Rolando Plaza, gusto ng unity pero makasabi ng alalay kay Bongo. Yeah, well, I think that we also will be able to afford to lessen the hostilities. Naintindihan ko, ako kasi very affected ako ng hostilities between the two camps. Sobra ako na-affect. Hindi ko, while I have been an early supporter of BBM Sara, hindi ko masikmura yung mga masasakit na salita sa presidente. After all, one of the reasons I support Inday Sara, aside from the fact that of her obvious qualities of leadership, straightforwardness, brutal honesty, and in obvious intelligence and charm, is that she is also, she had learned from the best. And so masakit para sa akin na marinig yung pambabalahura sa presidente in the name of campaigning for any team. So, konting lang. So para sa akin, I had to step back and take stock. Bakit ako? Yung sobra lang nasaktan. Masyadong because naiintindihan ko that to some extent, you're looking at antagonistic or adversarial camps. Kasi when you run for office, kalaban mo lahat ng kandidato. Pero hindi ko kalaban, hindi na po kasi ito 2016. Nakailangan talaga natin ng isang decisive victory kasi yung pinupush natin sa pagkapangulo doon, si Rodrigo Duterte, was up against, kumbaga, the odds were against him. He was dark horse, come from behind. This mayor from Davao City, never before having held a position higher than congressman. Diba? And then he was running against oligarchs, established powers, the equity of the incumbent, and so on, his team, the equity of the incumbent principles, yung mga ganon. So, hindi na po ito ganun eh. Kumbaga, we have gone to the next step where what is required is political maturity. We vote for the team that can present to us the best program to take us to the next step. Diba? Kailangan po ba natin magkasiraan para magkaganon? We want the next team who will become our next leaders to be, to be unifying. Yung hindi masyadong cutthroat yung election kasi hindi naman tayo malayo ng kung ano mga kailangan at gusto natin sa darating na na panahon. Sabi ni Priska B, mag-research kayo para malaman nyo kung anong mga nagawa ni BBM. Teka, ako ba kausap nyo o iba? Thank you kay Ma'am Renella Healy for your super sticker. Sabi ni Purple Rain, I agree with you. Ang iba kasi, instead of saying and doing healing things, mas pinapalaki pa ang sugat just to make them feel that what they say is better than others. Well, ang ko is, naiintindihan ko naman kasi. Pero like I said, hindi na po ito 2016. Nakailangan talaga natin yung aggressive na we beat down the arguments of the what we call the yellows now, yung Team Marrojas et al. Nung panahon na yon. Hindi po ito ganun. Hindi na we're not up against a huge enemy loaded with money and all that. We are against people like ourselves, or against particularly, yeah, we're against only somebody else's platform. Kumbaga, this is no longer, we're taking it beyond personality politics. So parang ang lumalabas is, komo ba't nag-endorso ang Pangulo ng kandidato na hindi natin sinasang-ayunan, kailangan ba nating kalimutan lahat ng ginawa niya para sa atin? The fact that he had dragged us kicking and screaming into the 21st century, giving us things and programs, giving us governance that we never had before. A government that actually found out what we wanted and needed and then gave it to us. Diba? Not a perfect government, definitely not. Daming, ano, ang daming deadwood dyan. Pero hindi, iba po ang eleksyon ngayon. And I think that if you love Inday Sara and BBM, then we can take a cue from them. Kasi kung pansinin nyo, the way they're conducting themselves in the elections, hindi personality-based, na sinusulong programa, na nanawagan ng healing, nagsasabing, I don't feel alluded to. Alam niyo, look at that. Look at the example that they set. And let's be ambassadors for that kind of governance, that kind of election campaigning. Sabi ni Tam, it's about our principle po. We support tatay and thankful sa mga ginawa niya para sa atin. Nagsimula yung alitan na. Guys, okay, alam nyo, at some point, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Oo nga't mayroong mga tao naghihikayat ng pag-aalitan, pero decision natin kung susunod tayo o hindi. Decision po natin kung mag-decide tayo maging maangas at magsasalita ng mapanakit o i-ignore natin at isusulong na lang natin yung mga programa ng mga pinili nating kandidato. Diba? Sabi ni JVM, pwede siyang mag-endorso pero dapat siya panira na parang napakasama ni BBM. Mr. JV, pansinin niyo po ang sinabi ni BBM. I don't feel alluded to. So yung sinabi ni Presidente tungkol dun sa droga, it only means na sinasabi ni BBM, hindi siya yon. So kung hindi siya yon, bakit kayo galit? Sa tingin niyo ba kasiraan ni BBM yon? Wala namang binanggit na pangalan at sinasabi ni BBM na hindi siya yon. Ngayon, dun sa remarks na weak leader, ganyan po ang eleksyon. Diba? Iko-compare nyo, sasabihin ni Presidente, etong opinion ko, hindi ko sinasang-ayunan yung kandidatura niya kasi hindi ako naniniwalang malakas siya na leader na magiging Pangulo. Anong sabi ni BBM? Nire-respeto pa rin namin ang Presidente kahit hindi siya sang-ayon dun sa mga sinabi o hindi yon ang sitwasyon. Hindi po niya ina-acknowledge na may kasiraan. Ina-acknowledge ni BBM na ganyan ang eleksyon. There is negative campaigning, there is positive campaigning. And we cannot dictate on any one person how they're going to conduct their campaign. We can criticize. We can even heckle them like what we do to Lenny Robredo day in and day out because they give us so many reasons to heckle her. Pero yung sasabihin ninyo na babalahurain niyo yung presidente na maraming nagawa simply because you disagree with his opinion on a candidate is, for me, a little too much. We can just simply disagree. Diba? Hindi naman nagbago yung isip ninyo sa sinong bobotohin ninyo, diba? Hindi naman nagbago yung statistics, hindi naman nagbago yung surveys. So bakit kayo galit? Pwede naman nating i-reduce yung mga argumento natin doon sa mga plataforma ng tao. ng mga kandidato natin. Sabi ni Noel Varona, hindi po nila naiintindihan yung sinasabing I don't feel alluded to. Hindi ko akalain maraming bugok na loyalist. Hindi naman po sa ganon. Kung sa tingin ninyo hindi nila naintindihan, posibleng it was just an imperfect understanding of his reaction, or as I would often point out, parang kukonti ang nakinig kay Spokes, kay Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Hindi nila narinig yung sinasabi, or masyadong busy na magalit dun sa presidente na hindi napansin yung mga sinasabi ni BBM. Sabi ni C, lahat ng negative issues ibabato kay BBM, umpisa pa lang ang dami na. Pero hindi ba lahat naman ng kandidato binabatuhan? Tayo nga nang babato eh. 'Di ba? Madali lang kasi batuhin si Lenny because her handlers are doing an awful job. Pero binabato din natin si Mayor Isko. Binabato din natin si Senator Pacquiao. Diba? So, bakit ganyan ka defensive? Because we do this. Kumbaga, if you can dish it out, you have to be able to take it. Yung kandidato, si BBM, is capable of taking it. So bakit kailangan na maging mapanakit yung mga salita? Na pati yung ibang mga posibleng kapwa botante ninyo, aawayin ninyo simply because you disagree with the perception that this person might be voting for another candidate. 'Di ba? Yun, sabi ni Jezreel, we can agree to disagree. Yes, or even better, we can agree to a campaign on platforms. Hindi na tao. Although, let's admit it, very lovable si Inday. Sorry, halatang halata naman masyado ko. So, and of course, si BBM, in case you haven't noticed, have you ever seen him angry? Oh, maybe that's part of the reason why people like him. Ako, I like the president kasi sobrang tunay niya. Pero you can still like BBM because he's the absolute contrast of PRRD. You don't have to hate one or the other. The president anyway is not running for office, so bakit niyo siya binabalahura? Ito, I suggest to all voters, listen, think, and analyze. Sabi ni Zenaida Panigbatan, kahit na feeling patungkol kay BBM about drugs, publicly, we get the response of BBM. He will continue the war on drugs, which is a very important project to PRRD. Yan, yung mga ganyan na then at least we're talking about programs and plans, di ba? Sabi ni Eri Morisawa, maganda na rin kung ganun nga ang sinabi ni Tatay Digong kung si BBM nga ang pinatatamaan para lalo-lalo magiging matibay sa hahawakan niya sa bansa natin. Pwede rin. Sabi ni Minjun, na naka-all caps, mabait na tao yan si Bong Go dito sa Davao City at marami na siyang natulungan at isa ako doon. Kahit hindi pa siya senador, tanggalang ugali na niya ang maging matulungin. Ito here. Thrifty June Pamisa says, it's hard for SBG to run for president because he was, and I think still is, the special assistant of PRRD. Because he was, and maybe a little more time for him to establish what he's really capable of. Then isn't that a far more, how do you call this? Intelligent response to, ayoko na kay PRRD kasi ginanyan na si BBM. I don't even hear BBM say something like that. Sabi ni Colette, basta ako love na love ko si Tatay Digong forever. I also am thinking kung anong iniisip ni Inday Sara. Kasi sa totoo lang, mahirap yung kalagayan niya. Hindi naman din siguro niya ikatutuwa yung binabalahura o inaaway yung tatay niya. Magkaaway man sila, mag-ama sila. That it's something that will happen in the course of any relationship. Hindi tayo kasali dun. So, kung sakaling disagree naman tayo sa presidente, pwede naman natin i-acknowledge yun. Parang in the same way na habang presidente siya, sinasabihan natin siya na, Mr. President, di naman yata ako agree dito kay Duque. Di ba? Parang, di rin naman ako sang-ayon sa mga polisiya ni Dar and so on. Hindi ako sang-ayon, Mr. President, na ididepensahan yung itong mga taong to. Wala namang kadipedepensa itong mga to. So, how often will we be, and like Chris had said, di ba? President Duterte made it possible for a Bongbong Marcos candidacy. Huwag din po natin kakalimutan yan. Hindi natin kailangan mag-away. Sabi ni No Sir Nieves, mag-back out or not si Bongo, okay lang, kiber na lang, sabi ni No Sir Nieves. Well, sa akin, if he does, good. If not, good pa rin. Maganda yung maraming kandidato. Anyway, this early, marami naman sa atin ang sure na kung sino yung mga iboboto natin, di ba? Sabi ni Brian Joseanos, normal lang yan, nasasaktan din mga loyalista pag naririnig ng mga salita ni PRRD. Sige, gets ko yan. Pero like I said, the president doesn't owe, well, for some people, they don't think that the president owes that much to BBM as much as the Marcos family owes to the president. Now, that is a matter of opinion. Ini-explain ko lang na ganun yung nakikitang sitwasyon dito. Might be different for everybody else. Sabi ni Julius, may fanatics pa rin dito, tigil niyo na yan, stop the hate. Sabi ni Mayor Inday ay politika lang ang lahat ng ito. I can feel her constant love for her father, sabi ni Gabriela Lorenzana. And I also understand her father dahil kailangan niya ring suportahan ng kanyang partido. And I think that as a father, nahihirapan din siya para sa anak niya dahil kahit sinong magulang ay basta para sa kapakanan ng kanyang anak ay kailangan niya ring suportahan. Kaya thank you so much, Senator Go, dahil nakita ko at naramdaman niyo ang hirap ng damdamin ng isang ama para sa kanyang anak. We can afford now actually to be kind. Diba? Sabi ni Ma'am Ilecara Araceli, Sir, mahal ko ang Pilipinas. Sa nakikita kong mga wrong information, nababahala ako. Mahal ko din si PRRD, lalo na sa nagawa niya para sa bayan. Sabi ni Minda Bert de Leon, honestly, I experienced the big help malasakit center of Senator Go with PRRD. I saw and heard many blissful people sa tulong ni Senator Go. Yes, and we can acknowledge that. Walang mawawala sa kandidato natin or kung sino man yung kandidato natin kung i-acknowledge natin yung nagawa. Diba? In the same way, pwede natin i-acknowledge yung nagawa ni BBM. And I still thank him for being one of 3 people who voted against the impeachment of Renato Corona. Thank you kay Ma'am Daisy Collis. Ask lang po, sabi ni John. Sabi sa statement ni Senator Go na tumakbo siya sabi ng partido pero tumakbo siya sa ibang partido, party name. Does it make sense? Well, he ran kasi diba originally as vice president. Yun po ang kagustuhan ng partido. Hindi po he's not talking about yun sa presidency. Kasi for the presidency, hindi nga yun yung gusto ng PDP laban. So he had to run in a different party. Okay? I love PRRD, malaking nabago niya sa Pilipinas. Sabi yung Berat Kokok, even Jesus Christ got mad, how much more with us? Yes, but at some point you have to let it go. But are you comparing yourself with Jesus Christ? I think that it is the Christ who became the man, not us comparing ourselves to a deity. I don't know. But you're right. Anger is a human emotion. Yes. But we can be angry without being destructive. Sabi ni Kanya Mikaler, we have different opinions on politics, but we must be mature enough not to be blind. What we gain today rather than the past regimes after FM, be open-minded about politics. Sabi ni Jeannie, love ko uli si Senator Bongo kung aatras na siya sa pagkapangulo, DDS forever. Mhm. Whatever the president is saying about BBM, as long as the majority still stands behind BBM, there's nothing to worry about. The president has done so much. We can't just hate him for a little politics. I like how you said that. Sabi ni Peach Quezon, we need senators like SBG, Bato et al. To help PRRD para maayos ang Senado dahil dumadami na ang mga senador na nang aabuso ng kapangyarihan nila doon sa mga hearing na ginagawa nila. Let's support BBM and Sara these elections, and when the time comes na SBG decides to run for a higher post, I think we can support him that time. He's just new in national politics and I know he acknowledges it. Need pa niyang magpainit para pag-time na niya, hindi na siya magdadalawang isip. Besides, BBM said he will continue, I assume, build. Okay. Sabi ni Melanie ako, mas okay andyan si SBG kasi hindi lahat ng DDS pro BBM. Imbis na mapunta sa ibang kandidato, ang boto mas okay na lang kay SBG. Good point. Thank you kay Robert Aginaga. Avatar says, salamat po dahil maraming BBM supporters na walang respeto sa Pangulong Duterte. Ay, well, then we just need to acknowledge that. Diba? Hindi naman kailangan. We're not compelling anybody to, vote for our candidate. We present the platforms of our candidates in the hopes that somebody that those who are interested in what they want to achieve will share that. Ngayon, kung magkaiba tayo ng kandidato, hindi naman natin kailangan mag-away. 'Di ba? Pwedeng ang pag-awayan natin yung plataporma nang hindi naman natin binabalahura yung kandidato. Hindi na po ito 2016. Sabi ni Blessy Harmin, #go Sara Duterte. Pearl June Franco says, Pinklawan lang ang gumigiit na si BBM ang pinatatama ni PRRD. Bakit maraming gumaya sa kanila kung mabilang parlor na? It doesn't matter, says, walang plataforma si BBM, kaya walang dahilan para boto si BBM. Sir, I disagree naman. Maaga pa lang, nagsabi na siya ng mga kanyang kagustuhan, hindi pa siya full-blown platform at the time. Pero nung in-interview namin siya doon sa Karambola, dumabas na po kung ano yung mga programang gusto niyang isulong. Sabi ni Kayoko Miyagi, anong masasabi niyo sa ngiwi ni BBM at panginginig ng bibig? Am I supposed to say something about that? If we're talking about a health concern, then this is, medical concerns, kandidato pa lang po siya. While it is true that it is important for the public to know this, I will not speculate on medical conditions. Base lang dun sa ganun. Unang-una, hindi po ako doktor. So, hindi ko po magagawa ng kahit anong conclusion o kahit opinion man sa iniisip ninyong, simptomas? So, sabi ni Alan Better, hindi na mabilang sa sobrang daming nagawa. The only president na nakapagbigay ng more than 160,000 hectares ng lupain, millions of drug users sumurrender, NPA, mga OFW sa death row na palaya. Sabi ni Nika Rani, issue pa ba yung mga bibig na yan? Don't be gullible. All right. Or don't speculate. Shout out to the real DDS, sabi ni Ma'am Ilecara Maraceli Moser from Bayugan City, from Switzerland. Naks. Sabi ni Melanio Maranya, at hindi po ako tumatakbo for Senate. I'm running for sainthood po. So, mukhang kinakalaban ako ni Lenny. May turn off, pause, and shut down buttons para sa mga toxic vloggers to forget, lalo na kung natotoxic na kayong mga listeners, sabi ni Going Aviki. I think that sometimes people are angry kasi nag-worry sila na may makukonvince yung ibang mga vloggers. Hindi po kailangan mag-worry. Lahat ng tao may sariling pag-iisip. So, nasa sa kanila din po yun kung gusto nilang mag-isip ng ganon. In the end, it is the majority voting for or against somebody, for or against issues or platforms who will decide. So, hindi kailangan pa na maging worried about that. Ngayon, kung meron mang fake news na lumalabas dun sa mga vloggers or false information, then we call out the false information. Sabi ni PRRD may kandidatong adik na isahan sila ayon isa-isa nagpa-drug test, political genius. Grabe, itong si Half Saliente ka na, buti na lang, maganda yung comment mo, otherwise hindi ko na-click yun sa all caps na yan. Okay. Itong si Abdul Patikul, akala niya, nakakapag-troll siya. But tama kayo, Half Saliente. Power is the capability, the ability to move people. So people responded or reacted to something that he said. Ching Condino says, I'm grateful kay Bong Go. Malasakit Center helps the less fortunate. I vote him to make laws. Sana tapusin niya yung mandato sa kanya. And in case manalo ang old man sa Senate, may kasangga siya at dituluyang kainin ng ibang mga alligator sa Senado. What's your take about the current situation na tila hindi matanggap ng mga DDS ang pag-anib ni Sara kay BBM? I'm sorry, but that is your position. That is your position. I disagree with you because there are available choices to the people whom you call DDS. Now, ito pa kasi to begin with, if you can readily identify the people who call themselves DDS and distinguish them from other factions in the population, good luck, bigyan kitang medalya. Because even DDS themselves, or people who consider themselves DDS, understand that this is an amorphous group. Mahirap yung mga boundaries natin. So doon pa lang, your statement reeks of sweeping generalization. Yung mga tila hindi matanggap ng mga DDS ang pag-anib ni Sara. Well, it is possible that there are some people who think that way. Is it even an issue? Because this is what elections are about, diba? Who we want to run for office and so on. And if they didn't want Sara to be with BBM, is that so wrong? That they express this kind of opinion? Maraming nagmamahal kay Inday Sara. Ganun na lang natin. I-acknowledge na natin yan at tanggapin natin. Not everybody wants the best for her, but I think that so many people love and respect her. And so, they feel that sometimes some people feel that there's some things that are better for her, that some of her decisions may not be sound. Okay lang yon, opinion nila yon. But the reality is, she's already team unity. Tatanggapin na rin natin yun. Kung medyo late yan, late dumating yung katanggapan na yun, ibigay naman po natin dun sa mga taong yun. I do believe PRRD is the key mover for BBM's candidacy, sabi ni Ma'am Audrey Mas. Please note that at the start, when Sara Run was launched, PRRD declared he's running for VP. ISDC backed out for reason. Number 2, Duterte shall run for national position, thus giving us the idea that she's giving up for PRRD. And the rest is known to us already. Ay, wala naman. I think PRRD needs PG sa Senate together with Senator De La Rosa para maayos ang Senado na makakatulong kay Inday Sara at BBM. Pwede rin. To say that a majority of those who put PRRD in power were BBM supporters is unfounded. That was just a common goal to push for real change, and most Pinoy saw it in PRRD. Enough of entitlement. Mga basa-basa po, wag ipagpilitan na sumanib si Sara kay BBM. Wala naman pong nagsasabi na noon. KBL si Marcos, siya yung sumanib sa alyansa ni Sara. Oh, it's a good perspective actually. Sabi ni Ivan Chu, what can you say about Pastor Kiboloy's case in the US? I have no comment because I haven't seen the facts of that case. Ang nakikita ko lang po yung issue ng extradition, which might take some time to resolve. This is a very good time to unite and solidify against the real competition, sabi ni Ma'am Kukay Mule. Right. Alright. Okay, last two. Ano po masasabi ninyo sa loyalista na ibo-boycott nila si Sara dahil sa sinabi ni PRRD? They are free to vote or not vote for anybody that they want. I was just hoping that it would be a better reason. Etong si Cheryl Ann, bias ka attorney, nung sinabi na si BBM sumanib kay Sara, lang ang sagot no. But you posted before you heard the end of my statement. Ikaw, hindi ka biased, hindi ka nakinig until the end, which is very dangerous. When you make an opinion, make sure that you had gotten all the information about it or all the information that was available. Kung sana, inintay mong natapos yung statement ko bago ka nag-post, di narinig mo the rest of it. Sabi ni Dante Vertudes, bias talaga si Luminous. And yet, here you are. Diba? Sino po suportahan ng Nationalista Party as presidential candidate? Wala pa po akong nakitang statement doon. Nationalista, wala pa akong nakita eh. Hey guys, if you really want me to read your comment, huwag kayong mag-all caps. Sabi ni Ma'am Sharon, Gabat, Panso, boots or chucks? Boots po. Suot ko pa rin ngayon. Hi, sabi ni Daniel De Vera, watching from London. Sabi, sabi ni Chev, bye-bye hardcore fanatics who claim that Luminous is biased. Stop throwing allegations. Thank you kay Joseph De La Cruz. Sabi niya, thank you for the live. Sabi ni Abdul, mahal na mahal kita ma'am dahil binabanggit mo ko, heart, heart, heart. Okay, last, totoong-totoo na. No. Basta thanks po, sabi ni Lorcely Venturina, vote PRRD for senator para tuloy yung work na maganda. I like that. Sabi ni Fanny, yung mga nagsasabing bias si Attorney Trix, pwede naman kayong umalis sa page na to and wag makinig sa live, basta kami will love and support Attorney Trix. Ito yung maganda nga eh, is that even when, yung mga hindi sang-ayon dun sa opinion namin sa Luminous, I like the fact that many of you still stay. Kasi, di ba, ako nagbe-benefit ako pag nadidinig ko yung ibang opinions. Kasi napapaisip din ako eh, why would people think this way? Ano yung input nila? Ano yung reason kung bakit ganun yung magiging kapanigan? Ngayon, kung yung ibang opinions ay uninformed, then obligasyon ng Luminous punuin yung ibang information na yun habang kaya namin to the extent na kakayanin namin. So and that's why I'm grateful even for those who disagree, because you continue to watch, matangkilik kayo, andito kayo at kahit sarcastic yung pag I love you, andito pa rin at nagdadagdag ng ano ba 'to, hits dito dito sa ano, dito sa aming live, 'di ba? Ah, sabi ni Mariam, "Uy, wala pa pong barya. Ang si attorney lang level-headed blogger at very objective when it comes to current events. Love you for the info. Wag po kayo magsawa sa pag-share." Salamat. Sabi ni Alan, troll daw nga yang si ano, yung binasa ko. Minsan-minsan babasahin din po natin ng trolls para makita din natin kung anong iniisip ng mga hinayupak na yun. Oops, sorry. Yung mga yon. Yeah. Sabi ni Alan Better, galing mo. Kahit loyalista ka, ay napaka-balance mo. First time ako sa live mo. Alam nyo, hindi talaga ako loyalist. Nakilala ko lang talaga si Senator BBM dahil kay Senator Amy, nakarambolista din. So, 'di ba nung buhay pa si Jojo Robles, si Senator Amy had the program before ours. 7 to 8 yung programa niya. Pag walang guest, kinakaladkad niya si Senator BBM doon. Tapos pag nakita namin, uy, andyan yung magkapatid. Hahatakin na namin sila doon sa programa namin sa Karambola. So, uh, in the process, nakakausap niyo the people whom when I was growing up kasi yung narrative ng kabila ng tinatawag natin na dilawan yung naririnig natin. So na-humanize. Dati grabe yung bashing sa kanila. Wala talaga tayong naririnig na pro Marcos noon. So nung andyan na sila, kaharap na sila, nakakausap namin, naki-humanize sila. So we can afford now to be more objective in dealing with issues that the Marcoses espouse or oppose and so on. So mas nagiging issue-based tayo. Like, there's some things I disagree with Senator Amy, pero that doesn't mean na ayaw ko na sa kanya. Di ba? Wala pa akong disagreement kasi kay Senator BBM. Now, hindi ako sure. There's some things then with Senator Bong Go that I disagree with, but that doesn't mean that I don't like him. In fact, I am grateful that he has taken good care of the president. Marami ako naririnig din sa kanya. I cannot ignore the rumors, but until I see that there's yung evidence that the court will accept on that, then we will just take it for what it is. It is what it is. Ganun na lang. Hindi naman kasi lahat tayo nasa posisyon na napatunayan yung mga rumors eh. Sabi ni JP, ceasefire na mga DDS at loyalist, hindi tayo magkakaaway, magkakakampi tayo. So, sabi ni bago tayo sabi ni Bilambino Juliet, I like the way you discuss things. You have a very calming manner. Oy, sabi nung mga Fenk, si Madam Lenny daw kalmado pero matapang. Feeling ko sa inyo nakuha yung kalmado-kalmado na yan eh. Kakaingay niyo dun sa pambansang pangpakalma, ayun narinig kayo. Pero ina-ascribe nila kay Lenny ngayon. Ma'am, off topic lang. Sige, if ever manalo si BBM's president, would the BBM admin acknowledge EDSA anniversary or how will they address it? Ako, that's an interesting question. But let's see. Wala pa po kasing statement sila tungkol doon. They disagree with the historical narrative, of course. Diba? Of course. Given yun. Andiyan yun, hindi sila sang-ayon. And yet, I don't know, we will have to see. Kung magiging significant dyan kung sino yung i-appoint nila sa National Historical Commission, which will have a say on how the EDSA revolution is going to be read henceforth, di ba? Sabi ni Frank Cres, mataas na Pilipino at mapabilang sa bansa na pinagmulan ng mga nilalang na may natatanging ang king kapangyarihan. Grabe. Hadukin! Oh boy. Grabe kayo. Oo. Saka wag tayo mag-away-away, yung tayo-tayo lang. Diyos ko, ang dami-dami yung pwedeng i-heckle kay Lenny Robredo. Nag-aaksayahan nyo ng panahon itong mga maliliit na bagay na ito. 'Di ba? O sige, kung hindi sang-ayon ng presidente kay BBM, mahal pa rin natin siya. Sinabi nga ni BBM, we still respect the president and so on. Sino ba tayo para sabihin na mas magaling tayo kay BBM, 'di ba? I thank you kay Patrick para dun sa super sticker. Sabi ni Sel Marita Cara, watching from Japan, I respect everyone's opinion. Sana iyong iba rin because everybody has different views. The pambansang pampakalma. O siya, sige, kalmado na ang lahat. So we know that the statement of Senator BBM is not exactly a withdrawal, but an expression of his willingness to do so. And even if it's not exactly a withdrawal, we thank him for it because nakikita natin yung kalagayan niya. Naiintindihan din natin na nasasaktan siya doon sa mga pangyayari dito. It isn't that he doesn't like BBM or Sara or Inday Sara or anything like that. He's just in a position that is adversarial to theirs. Natural election. So, sige, he did not set out to be a candidate for president. O sige, diyan na nga yan, naintindihan po natin yan. Naintindihin din natin si Senator Bong Go. Hindi po natin kailangan batikusin siya. He finds himself in this position. Well, it is true, pwede naman siya mag-withdraw. Some people are of the opinion that it's actually better for him to be there. Given na, yun na nga, yung mga kalaban baka magkaroon ng konting umang. So, for the moment, the team unity is not threatened by any of the candidates. They don't feel threatened and don't think neither should we. We're at that point na we are secure enough dun sa mga capacity ng ating mga kandidato na hindi natin kailangan maging personal, hindi natin kailangan bakbakan ng presidente. We can go back to the process of heckling Lenny Robredo. Sorry, lauka lang. We can go back to the process of nation building na pwede tayong mag-criticize kay presidente pag nagkakamali siya. Pwede rin naman po tayong magpuri at magpasalamat dun sa maayos na paggamit ng ating mga buwis. So, in the end, everybody still wins. Diba? No need to fight about this. Ang kalaban natin, yung mga taong gustong bumalik, yung mga taong sumira na nga sa bansa, abay gusto pang mamuno uli or gusto pang mamayagpag. Yan po ang aabangan natin. Yan po ang sisiguraduhin natin na hindi na dapat makakabalik. So, no to tapos, ingat po tayo dun sa mga binoboto natin bilang mga kongresista, senador, mayor, konsehal. Lahat po yan mahahalaga. Titignan sila po ay either katulong o malaking hadlang sa pag-ahon ng ating bansa o pagsulong ng ating bansa. Onward and forward po tayo. Maraming salamat sa lahat po ng sumabaybay sa Luminous nitong araw na ito sa live natin. Maraming salamat sa napaka-intelihenteng mga remarks. Salamat na rin sa mga trolls na nagpaparami ng hits ng Luminous. Evil laugh. Thank you rin kay Alan Better. Nagpadala siya ng pang-pandesal kasi for sure marami ka ng pang-kape. Team Duterte Forever from Davao City. Hoy, huwag niyo kakalimutan ha, na Team Unity is two people. It is Inday Sara and BBM. Okay? Love natin si Inday Sara, huwag po kakalimutan. Of course, parating the eyes are always on the presidency, pero do not forget the important role that Inday Sara plays in this whole drama we call the Philippine elections. Maraming salamat po. We'll see you tomorrow on Karambola. Ingat-ingat and have a good night's rest.